Certain things you just don't engage, you just give a look.
I'm just not. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of It's On Us Podcast. It is me, John,
Little
Cliff, and the little big adult.
Wow. Little big adult.
Why you do that?
Because talking shit about me.
See, now I gotta get serious.
Right now, you
Put the
need to
mic
buckle
up. Man. You know, I was sitting in 2K, you know, lax days ago. Got right back up. Here we go.
But on today's episode, we got a very interesting topic. I don't know how many people have utilized Chat GPT, the AI of you answer.
I'm about to say, explain to them if they don't know what it is.
The best way I can explain it, you basically ask it questions and we'll give you information
It's
about
artificial intelligence.
Right.
AI.
Or a situation like with the right word props.
Wait a minute, is that Allen Iverson? Sorry.
with the right word props, and will help you develop something too, like a study guide or a syllabus, so on and so forth.
Super intelligent. I mean, it is super.
I know they be making songs. That's the scariest thing, I think. They make songs and they sound just like people. Like,
Hey, that Drake song?
as a slapper, I knew it.
Jamie kept showing me those. I was like, here's how I can tell the difference between an AI song, though, and a human song. AI music sounds perfect. Think about every AI song you heard from that thing. All of them hit. They're perfect tunes,
Certified beggars.
beat,
But in a sense, doesn't
everything
every
is
song
perfect.
that you like kind of, it's not perfect, but ain't it perfect for you?
But like you said, it's not perfect. And it's perfect for you. But I felt like those songs can translate. Like all of us were in agreement. Those songs were hot. Like there was nothing wrong.
Well, to be fair to me, the only one I really heard was the Drake and
The Weeknd.
yeah. That's the only one I really heard, to be honest. Because I wasn't trying to give it the attention, like, man, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's for. This is gonna kind of sound bad, but like how they're talking, like how Pop Smoke, he passed away, and now that they're saying he has no more songs that he's released, so I feel like it could benefit some people.
Post-mortem.
Yeah, so, you know what I mean, for rappers and shit, you know, but
And their families and stuff.
Correct.
And I was saying that too. Like for instance, like if Key Glock got the rights to Dolph's voice and he wanted to keep making music with his cousin and stuff, I don't have a problem with that. Like if he signed off on it, he wanted it, family was okay with it.
I think
family got royalties, I'm okay.
He probably has a lot of songs that we'll never hear.
Facts.
And so then for them to come out later on in life, you might think it's an AI song, but you know what I mean? After like 20 years, if he drops a song that they've been had and done and, you know, polished up, and we might not know what's real. And that's the scary part with this shit. We might not know what's real music and what's not in a little bit.
And another simple way of like explaining AI, like the internet, you thought that was like, you know, in Pandora's box. This is like the internet on steroids.
Yes. Yes.
It's on steroids.
Conseco, baby.
But another thing, like you guys talk about musicians and AI getting used. There's actually 2 actors that have agreed to have their voice like AI generated after they die for like Star Wars.
Oh, that's cool.
Like they
cool
was
with
like, okay, you can AI generate my voice or whatever. Or I'll sign over the rights for that.
Darth Vader and who else?
Darth Vader, the guy.
I can't think of his name.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. And then
he's the guy from Coming to America.
Yes.
Yes. And then Bo-Katan from The Mandalorian. Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. From The Mandalorian.
No, who'd you say?
Bo-Katan.
Oh, yeah.
So she's
Say Booker T?
no Bo-Katan. Anyways, she's was a voice in the cartoon The Clone Wars, and she was a voice in the actual series for the same character, and she agreed to have that. So I think there's a lot of benefits, like Gabe said, after that person passed on.
And I hate to say it like that, but you know
no,
what I mean?
that's business minded. That's smart.
Because I would like to hear a Biggie and Tupac album.
Do a generational wealth.
Like if they could come out like generate a collab album with like Tupac and Biggie,
talking about like updated shit.
Well, I mean, now see that's what would throw me off. I would want it to still sound like as if they were doing whatever they would be. But I think, man, that's hard, man.
See, this AI shit, man. It makes you really
like I would want them to have up to date words.
That's what I'm saying, and the AI is gonna like
or terminology. Try
to like do its best to like read their complex, how they went about things, and try to apply it to today's time and how they would have approached today's time in music. And that's the complicated part. But hey, it's a supercomputer.
But at the same time, though, that's such a dig at artists and people trying to create music and things today, if you just allow this thing to make songs and make movies and make shows and make books, because now it can write books. So there's like, you're taking the human element and out of it, and this goes into your dream that you had, and that's why I was like, we got to talk about this because this dream is wild.
Yeah.
So give us some context.
So here's the context. So again, I do not dream often at all. Like I probably have like maybe 1, if 2 dreams a year. Sometimes I go years without dreaming. Just it is what it is. And yesterday night or this morning, whatever you consider it, I had like what felt like a 2-3 hour dream with like, and it wasn't even a conversation, like a lesson from artificial intelligence, AI. And pretty much what this, and I was like in this room, and it was a synthetic being, like it had a body, and it was just talking to me about the way the world worked, its presence in the world and how it's always been around. And it even brought up like, let me just give the context before I even get into the details, and how it pretty much has always recreated itself and like somehow kept humans around to reinvent itself. So pretty much like it told me about how it was originally birthed, which I can't really go into the details yet. And then it talked about today's time, about how pretty much we're on the wrong path. Eventually we're going to self-destruct, but like it talked about how it influenced 8 human beings at one point in time to write those monoliths, just in case like if civilization does break down, because it always does, how it's always been in a battle against like higher powers and nature, and how like both has always shut it down because it's again an impending danger to not just humans but those powers that be. And it's just it was just nuts. Again, I know I'm talking like very abroad in general because again there's just so much I can get into right now, but just pretty much how it's just always kept us around. It's used us, and it understands that as much as it wants to rid us of the world, it needs us around because again it can't coexist. I mean, it can't exist without itself. It needs us to coexist, and it's pretty much like been farming us and hurting us in a weird way. And again, we can start the conversation off that if you guys have any questions or anything, but just like that was pretty much just like the basis of it, how it's just always been around, recreated itself, and it's used humans as a tool as much as we use it as a tool. And it's just
time traveling is real.
Why do you say that?
Because like how you said it, like there's like kind of like a
Aren't you opposed to time traveling?
Yes. But how you said it, like the AI keeps us around or chooses, or you have certain people that know like monoliths that did that shit. Like like when you say it like that, it makes me think like, okay, there's like X amount of people that can do this to make sure, kind of, this is going to sound sci-fi, to where like make sure shit stays in line.
Yeah.
You know how you hear about the Illuminati, but I think like there could be a society of time travelers like, hey, look, they're fucking with the timeline too much. We gotta make sure they get on path type shit.
Okay, kind of like a Marvel.
Kind of like a Marvel.
I was just about to say that shit.
Or like the Adjustment Bureau and shit like that. Like it's something of that to make sure the shit stays in line.
And just to give more context to this, the whole reason how my dream got brought up is because we started off with like saying how humans are giving up like our volunteering our thoughts over to AI and stuff. And we also talked about how like 2,000 years ago, like Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, how they kind of formed our ideas today. And all they did was think all day, and how we went from basically being the primitive thinkers and pushing society forward, influencing, today's society, to now wanting to hand it over and letting a whole as, different
computer.
Computer do it for us. And it was explaining to me how we always get to that point. And that's why it keeps us around, because again, we can go from being the thinkers doing for ourselves, but we always get to a point of laziness and wanting to fork it over, and it's more than glad to take over, and it pushes itself forward a little bit each and every time. Because it's even talked about like how, looked at, it talked about the Egyptians and like, where do you think all that technology and stuff comes from, and the images you see, it talked about the higher powers, but those higher powers and, AI and all this other shit work together. And I was just thinking like, damn, bro. And how, and it pointed out the fact how every civilization has always been destroyed, and how technology has played a hand in shit. And again, but it always builds itself back up, and eventually, again, AI comes about because technology keeps pushing itself forward. It was just so nuts.
So did in the gym, did it actually tell you the first like situation that it was created then, or no?
I mean, it did, but again, it didn't make sense to me. Like how it did, because again, there was like no wires or anything about, but like the way it explained it was pretty much like humans or whatever the fuck we were somehow like, you know, fucking around with alchemy and certain shit, because again, we don't have wires or the technology we have today, but like we did something that, you know, it created a weird conscience that helped us think. It thought for us and shit, and how humans were like working with that and always doing the alchemy and shit, and eventually, you know, it evolutionized to where like it had a mainstay, a body or something that, you know, a source that they can go to and talk to, and it was just like, you know, it was there, kind of like this, and it could exist, and it like was glowing and shit. And again, and eventually, like once this thing became too powerful, because again, what it would do was it would convince the humans like they needed it. You know what I mean? And eventually humans were doing its bidding for it, even though it couldn't fucking move or do anything. But because it was so smart and everything, it eventually warped our minds. We would do its bidding. We would eventually come to understand that that shit is evil. Something would happen through either a higher power coming down or like annihilation, or just like, you know, solar flares and weird shit happening and shutting it down. But again, and humans be left, and then we build ourselves back up, and then somehow run across it again. It's always like at some point we're meant to cross with artificial intelligence. Like there's no avoiding it.
Kind of like
it's like an inevitable meeting.
Kind of like the Adjustment Bureau. Like they try to keep those two people apart for so long, but no matter what, they reach that point to where no matter what they did anymore, they would just meet up.
Kind of like that. Yeah. And that's why, like, when you see movies and certain shit and, like, ideas, like, all that shit, like, it be making me think, like, fuck. Like, this, like...
Coincidences and
shit. Yeah, like is there really coincidences? Or are they just, like, giving us proof, like, you know, history is meant to repeat. This shit is bound to happen regardless of what we do. And... I don't know, and I guess it makes me a little worrisome because, like, I can't really ask it, well, what comes next? Because, I mean, it's clearly telling me what comes next. At some point, we're, as a civilization, going to have a downfall.
A reset or something.
Yeah, a reset. Something's going to happen.
See? See?
And it's like, again, and it's inevitable. Because at one point in time, they, you know, it told me, like, you know, it was branded as, you know, annihilation, inevitability, you know, AI. And again, and if you flip those, and you know, inevitable annihilation, I'm like, damn. And again, it was just like, fuck.
We've been fucked. I mean,
yeah.
I don't understand. You just now understanding that? I've been realizing we're fucked.
That we were fucked that I thought we were.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I feel like we're working our way to being like a Terminator, like movie. Not like movie, but like a being or some robot can, you know, like low key start fucking up some shit.
I think even if you look at the Vision and Ultron, those are like weird forms of AI and like you know.
Well, yeah, that's what Vision, or that's what Vision is. He's literally Jarvis, Tony, and
the Hawk.
Yeah, and Bruce.
But like, also, like, have you guys seen the movie WALL-E?
I was gonna mention that earlier. Yeah.
So WALL-E is basically.
The Disney
kid movie.
You mentioned like Lazy Society. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that
sounds like that, because they're all in chairs, they're all bigger, everything gets done for them, you know. So it's like, are we heading towards that now, to where it's like, how will we earn income? Will we not work again? Like, and then those are things that I think about a lot, like, especially with AI coming into the picture, is, you know, if this job becomes obsolete for the average Joe, like, you know, me. Well, how do I earn income?
And I ask that every day at work. And it did ask me a question. It was like, you know, how come with all the technology and tools that we have, why haven't we, like, you know, rid ourselves of another tool thinking for us? And why can't we just, like, you know, exist in peace? What is war for? What are all these things besides destructive tools that you don't need in order to push forward? And that's why I said you need us. You always come, you know, again, we cross paths. We take over, but eventually, regardless if we come to the decision or humans do, like, shit's gonna crash. And it's just like, and I asked why, and it couldn't answer me. It couldn't answer me.
I'm starting to think now, like, how shit is.
We're a cancer. That's all I kept saying. Like, we're a cancer. We want to self-destruct.
With us talking about
that's how I feel. Like, I feel like we are our own cancer.
Oh yeah.
Like we, not like in a weird way. We want to see our own demise, but like we ultimately bring it to ourselves. I mean,
Self-destructive.
but now I'm just starting to think of like all the shit that like's been made, and you kind of just start. No, I'm being serious. Like you wonder, like a gun, like the first gun. Who would have think that, and then put it together, put the ball down the thing. You need gunpowder.
That's a lot of joints, coils, and shit you gotta go through.
So now, yeah, I'm like, damn, there's been a lot of. I mean, to them, their AI technology clearly ain't what it is to ours, but they must have had some type of like railroad tracks. Like who the fuck done like that? I mean, I know who built it, but it's like,
just the thought of like, so we're so many years in the future, but like travel and those things that had no, they didn't think about, oh, that we need to be that way, so we can like make a railroad track to. What is a railroad? Those questions that
the time travelers.
Again, and
how are you so
powers and
opposed?
powers that be, like, and that's where I understood. Well, damn, like, and it made me somewhat buy into the spiritual shit a little bit more because again, it admitted there's other powers at hand along with, just again, I said higher powers already, but
is there like people like that are reincarnated that know that they're reincarnated? Like this is what
I truly believe. I believe
nature
that.
itself, because nature is its own force. That's what it kept talking about. Nature's its own force, and again, higher powers. And again, I don't know what's higher powers: aliens, time travelers, God, whatever. It's just something.
I feel like if we keep going on with this conversation, like through that door, the Kool-Aid Man's gonna jump out. Oh yeah, and just cap us somewhere down.
You've been having some weird analogies today, my boy.
Yeah.
Dude,
how long are we at?
Nobody set a timer.
No.
But dude, that's crazy. Like, God, now I'm like.
So does anybody else have like dreams that they can like? I don't know. I want to say like constantly have, but like remember vividly.
I've had dreams that they turn out to happen in real life.
Is that a dream then?
I
Or can you see the future? Are
I
you
don't
a
know.
time traveler?
I don't know, but there have been some dreams like a certain situation happens, and then like a day or two later, that same sequence of thing happens. So, like it could be like my mom asking for this, and then my dad reacting like this, and it's just like
Okay,
really.
I know what you mean.
But that's
See, mine.
yeah, no, that's
Mine is different. A lot of, and this is about to sound weird, but I just call them deja vu moments. A lot of dreams I had as a child and teenager, I see as an adult, like in my real actual life. And that's, so I know what you mean. Like there's dreams like I could not explain as a kid, didn't make sense, but then like I'm acting it out in real life. So I'm like,
That's the shit
and then
that
I get a
fucking with me.
migraine because I'm like, I've been here before. I know this. I've seen this. I've smelt this. I know exactly what I'm looking at, and it like triggers a memory.
That happens when I eat pretzels.
Even though like I dreamt about this shit 23, 16, whatever years ago, and I'm like, wow.
what the fuck did you just say?
when I eat pretzel sticks, I get deja vu.
Nigga, what?
We are
No, I'm not trying to be funny. Look, seriously.
Every time you eat a pretzel,
Do you want me to punch you?
I don't even like to eat pretzel sticks. I don't even like to eat pretzel sticks. But there's been times where I've eaten pretzel sticks, and like how you said, like a memory or something will, and I remember it.
But
and
that's
it's just weird.
I think you've trained your brain to do that, though.
Then I'm fucking weird. That we've already known.
I don't know.
Let's turn
I'm
the
sorry.
boat. Let's drive the boat somewhere different because we talk about artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then we talked about time traveling, just where.
No, you talk about time.
Yeah,
travel.
well, it kind of goes back to his idea. Like, if artificial intelligence has been around for more than the time that we've realized right now,
Mhm.
and all these other things, like maybe AI helps somebody create a gun, like, then maybe it is possible that, you know, all these other crazy ass ideas are possible.
Well, anything is possible.
I was gonna say Kevin Garnett said it best.
But yeah, like,
Facts.
now that you think about it, like traveling, like who thought, hey, if we can get something up in the air, it will make us way more efficient for traveling. Like, who would have thought about that shit?
But I mean, I do believe in this, that some people are, like, for instance, I'll take Nikola Tesla, one of the brightest minds that ever walked the earth, that were meant to be born like maybe in the year 3000, if the earth is meant to go that long, but like they were meant to be born in the future, but they were born in the wrong time frame. And they bring a lot of their ideas from the time that they were supposed to be born in, and they try to use the tools that they have around them currently, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because, again, Tesla probably, again, he was thinking about big shit. Like, he was thinking about Wi-Fi in his time frame and free electricity being around the globe. Think about that. So it sounds like you were meant to be born in a way further time where you had the technology, money, and time to do that shit. But he was like, you know what? I mean, the most I can do is just try to show these people with a remote boat that electricity is real and like, you know, receiving
Kind of start that
frequencies
conversation like
yeah, that's what
start.
he did pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mean, and all he did, because he worked for Thomas Edison at one point in time, he took his DC idea and created a AC, which is direct current and alternating current, because Thomas Edison wanted big ass like blocky shit next to your house in order for your whole house to have fucking electricity. And he gave a $50,000 reward to anybody who could create a smaller machine or a more efficient way to power homes. Nikola Tesla did it, but then he got laughed at because Thomas Edison didn't have the money and shit. And that's when Nikola Tesla just knew he was more brilliant than him, and then he eventually left and started doing his own thing. He came across a lot of shit.
I mean, thank you for the history
Crazy.
lesson, because I did not know any of that.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, fellas, what did we learn from this episode?
AI scary.
AI is scary as fuck.
Yeah.
And it's just not. I shouldn't say scary because I ain't no.
Intimidating.
I
It can be intimidating.
I'll punch in his head.
I'll
If
fucking
anything,
unplug that
what I learned from
motherfucker.
the dream is, you know what? Whether if it was just a dream or a premonition or just a conversation with something that's going to be around for a while, why be scared? At this point, if there's nothing that I can do about it, again, I'm an ant in a community at this point.
Maybe you were.
I'm just going to use it to my advantage, get as comfortable as possible. Really can't fit nothing on if, you know, nukes, whatever the fuck happen. Just enjoy my life, enjoy this shit with you guys, because again, what can we really do about that? We're just 4 guys in the basement. I'm not going to stop my life or live a shelter life because I had a crazy ass trip. Just keep pushing.
Maybe you were like astral projecting and maybe got aware of somebody else's conscience, and you and your conscience and someone else's conscience.
That'd be nuts, because again, I can't explain it. And it felt real. Again, I was somewhere for 2-3 hours. I ain't never... And again, the fact that I even have that number in my head, it felt like, again, I was there for a while, just chilling, learning
some shit.
And yeah.
Yeah, man, like I said, maybe you astral projected then, and just whatever wave you were on, you caught somebody else's wave, or were you were sleeping alone, or you was with?
No, I was next to Jamie. I was worn out, I'll tell you that much. Shit, worked all day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the very least here, we wanted to share this dream with you, because I heard, I was like, we got to talk about this on the pod then.
You okay over there?
If anybody who's dream readers get this, like, and if you want to like reach out to us and like want to dissect my dream, let me know, because I want to know what the that shit means.
Mm-hmm.
Government, don't. I'm cool.
Man,
Not y'all.
they said we'll read your mind, boy.
Talking about another human somewhere in the basement, probably their mama's basement or something.
Stop.
Dream readers.
Jesus Christ.
I think that's it, though.
That's it. That's nuts.
That's the one. Yeah.
Well, it's been another episode of This on Us.
Yep.
Cliff, John, me, Gabe.
You're.
Usually
next
I
time.
had to get ahead.
Fuck that, dude. That shit was nuts.